You're listening to The David Knight Show.
Yeah, speaking of the eye in the sky, what about the all-seeing continuous eye that will be on us once we usher in 5G? That should be enough to stop us from letting that go forward. And yet, there's also the health issues. And Brussels has now become the first major city to halt 5G with health concerns. The Belgian government minister has announced that Brussels is halting its 5G plans due to health effects. And as the collectiveevolution.com asks, should we agree to be guinea pigs on a technology that hasn't been tested? That's a very good point. This is the minister of the government responsible for housing, quality, life, environment, and energy. And of course, 5G is going to affect all of those. It's all part of, it is the essential substrate, folks, for the smart cities movement. That is all coming from the United Nations. And they want this to be in place by 2030. They want to pack us dumb effers into their smart cities so they can watch and control our every movement. But the minister there is talking about the health issues. She said, I cannot welcome such technology if the radiation standards, which must protect the citizen, are not respected, 5G or not. The people of Brussels are not guinea pigs whose health I can sell at a profit. We cannot leave anything to doubt. And so the question is it really a health concern? Well, she pointed out that the 5G pilot project is not compatible with existing Belgian radiation safety standards. They have standards unlike the United States. We passed a Telecommunications Act in 1996 that said you're not going to object to the radiation that we expose you to with cell towers. You can object if you think that's going to affect your property values. I don't like the way that cell tower looks. Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll put something in front of it so it looks nicer. But you can't object to it actually being there. You can't object to it being a cancer cluster, say the feds. Now, of course, that's just what the feds are saying. The reality is, folks, is that the federal government is never going to be looking after our best interests. They're never going to respect our individual liberty, and we're going to have to take this back one town at a time at the local level. We're not going to elect some savior. Not even Thomas Jefferson could save us from the monster that the federal government has become now. So it certainly isn't going to be President Trump, because he's not even focused on liberty. He's focused on making a great American empire. And that's a very different thing, understand. It can be useful as a check against the Democrats and their plans for us, but it doesn't really get us to where we want to go. There's not anybody even talking about that running for a major office, including the Libertarian Party. They jettisoned the idea of liberty as well. So we're not going to get somebody, some savior who's going to go to Washington and respect our lives and our liberty. We're going to have to tell them to back off at the local level. And that's why I think it's very important, these sheriffs in Colorado. More than half of the counties in Colorado said, we're not going to enforce your red flag gun laws. And if you don't understand how dangerous, how important that is, just take a look at what CPS is doing to children. We got to take the guns to protect the children. Well, let's take a look at what happens when you remove due process. It means that they can take your kids without any due process. As that interview that I did yesterday with a poor man who lost his child. So many of those cases. We're going to have more of those coming up on the show in the next few days. But the red flag gun laws and the civil asset forfeiture laws, the left loves these red flag gun laws. The right loves the war on drugs. And then we bring all those together because we've got to save the kids from the drugs. We've got to save the kids from the guns. And then what happens when you lose due process? They take the kids. And they don't care about protecting the health of the kids. We've had a couple of different cases. One of them just came up again in California. A cell phone tower cluster that the school district rented out to the phone company and put it on the grounds of the elementary school. Now they got a cancer cluster there. That's happened before in New York, and they shut down the lawsuit in New York at that time because of the 1996 Telecommunications Act. Same thing they did, by the way, with vaccines in 1986, 10 years before that. You're not going to sue the vaccine courts for this. Of course, you can go and you can try, if you know about it, you can go to the secret vaccine court. It's an arbitration process. It's not a real jury, not a real trial. So you're not going to get the kind of money that you would with a trial about glyphosate and cancer. And you'll be paid not by the vaccine companies, you'll be paid by the taxpayer. But that vaccine court in the first quarter of 2019 alone has paid out $110 million in people who are injured or killed by vaccines. Oh, but they're totally safe, right? Anyway, let's get back to 5G and what's going on. The standard that they have there, which we don't have a standard, the standard is the standard for extreme concern is 1 milliwatt per square meter. But she said the 5G is 95 milliwatts per square meter, 95 times what they would consider to be extreme concern. So there is a quantitative concern. There is also a qualitative concern. As Michael Snyder pointed out last month, he said 5G cell towers are more dangerous than other cell towers. And he talks about the difference between 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G. Those are going anywhere. They were, 1G was 1 gigahertz, 2G was 2 gigahertz. I've talked about this before as well. 5G is not 5 gigahertz. 5G is between 25 and 90 gigahertz. It is qualitatively very different. It hasn't been tested. And so the quantity of radiation, as this official is pointing out in Brussels, is 95 times higher. And these things are going to be everywhere because they are operating at such a high frequency. They have to operate in direct line of sight. It's kind of like the difference between the tweeters in your speakers and the woofers, right? The low frequency. That's not directional, but the tweeters are very directional. And so as this goes up in frequency, they're going to have more of these. And one of the things that I haven't seen anybody else talk about, if you look at 5G, one of the things that they talk about, because it is so susceptible to direct line of sight, they will focus it and they will alternate between different people who are talking. It's very high speed, and at a very high rate, they can concentrate multiple antennas on you as you're talking. And then they take all of that power and they focus it on the next person. They multiplex back and forth between these two. So you're going to be, as you're using this, you're going to be getting very high pulses of this stuff. It's going to be very concentrated, multiple antennas. As I point out, there's no question that a 5G world would put us all under unprecedented levels of surveillance and control. It would give unheard of power. Now, these people are leftists, so they're concerned about the soulless corporate algorithms. Folks, I'm never ceased to be amazed at how the left is only concerned about corporations being evil, and the right thinks that corporations can do no wrong, the government can do no right. And the two of them are polar opposites of each other. The thing that's really dangerous is when the two of them operate together. The corporations want profits. The government wants control. And they work together to give us fascism. That's what we should be concerned about, that public-private partnership for control of our lives and money for the very few. We'll be right back with Gerald Celente. Stay with us.
The scientists at InfoWars Life have created a powerful formula for inflammatory support and joint support. Discover the power of ancient medicine with Bodies. Bodies contains one of the most potent forms of turmeric available. Turmeric has been used for thousands of years and is one of the most studied herbals today. It is well known in traditional medicine for its soothing properties. Our pure turmeric extract plus piperine from black pepper makes for optimal absorption to help boost and support your flexibility, mobility, joint function, immune system, and so much more. Regular turmeric root from the store only contains 1 to 5% of active ingredients, but our turmeric root extract contains over 95% of the active ingredients. Bodies combines turmeric with organic herbs such as spearmint, sage, lemon balm, and thyme to work synergistically for full body support. Try Bodies today at InfoWarsLife.com or call us at 188-253-3139.